It's an Airbnb owned by a young lady. The young lady assures the police officers that there is no one in the house, and that when she arrived home from shopping, the front door was opened. At first it seems like an empty house, but as the officer moves on, unexplained things begin to happen. As he heads up the stairs, watch this bedroom door. It seems to open all by itself.
Anyone inside, make yourself known.
Did you see it? As he rounds the corner, this door is already moving and already opening. He's immediately rushed by footsteps running towards him, but when he turns, there's no one there.
Back on June 25th, 2023, Reddit user Riley was sent a video from one of his friends that truly baffled him. He decided to post the video to the Ghost subreddit to hopefully find some answers. His friend was home alone late one evening when his doorbell began to ring several times. When he looked at the live video feed on his phone, he was absolutely stunned by what he witnessed.
Your attention, please.
You got the touch.
This is the kind of thing that just tickles my balls.
started. Nothing stops this train. Who are you?
Oh, you better be joking.
There's Mr. Nubuck and myself. Greetings. Welcome in, everyone, to Here to Chew Bubblegum. Or as Rich likes to call it, How to Chew Bubblegum. Good morning, Justin.
Yeah, I've been known to mess a name up a time or two.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I might like that better.
What do you think about somebody, Justin, going to come on the show and promote it to check out How to Chew Bubblegum?
Yeah.
So
I need help
here, how?
But
I got the H right.
Yeah, you did. You do know how we come up with a name, right? I did tell you that before, didn't I?
Remind me.
They Live movie, Roddy Piper.
Okay.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Okay. All right. I
You
do remember.
We were talking about, aliens and UFOs and all kinds of different type of stuff.
Yeah, I do remember the quote.
Yes. So you don't remember me telling you that?
Yeah, I think I do.
Okay. Well, Justin, Rich Justin, I introduced you guys backstage. We were having some difficulties backstage. Normally, I would have the video that we show at the beginning and end made like at least a few days in advance. I'd done that right before we went on the air is when the opening uploaded and the closing is uploading as we speak. So, but I have a good excuse. And I'm going to go ahead and share this with everyone just in case, we may, and I'm going to talk to you about this later, Justin, I may have to move the show date that we do it, maybe to Sunday night or some other date, but I'll get up with you on that because I have two family members that are extremely ill right now. And one of them, we found out a day before yesterday, has cancer, but it's incurable. So my lack of being online this week that's the reason. What was that, Rich?
I said, that's tough, buddy.
Yeah. Thanks, man. It's hit pretty hard. I'll be honest. So I've not posted anything on TikTok or really, on the Static and Noise YouTube. I've not posted anything, I think, since Monday. So I've not even checked the email or messages or anything. So sorry to bring you guys down. So, but thank you for being here. I need to do this. That way it keeps me busy, keeps my mind busy, keeps me normal. Well, I've never been normal, but
it gives the distraction.
Yeah. See, Justin, I beat you to it. But let me welcome everyone in. I guess I will say hello to the Reverend Billy Joe Farnsworth. We'll talk about him in just a moment. Bolin Cox, welcome. Thank you very much for being here. Christy, good morning. Lucy, our show producer, good morning. And welcome as always, Mud Digger, good morning. And she says, good morning, Goose, Rich, and the other guy. Remember last week, Justin?
It's the other dude.
So didn't I say Todd for the name? The other dude, that was it. Or you could be Togue, the other guy. So
that green screen looks like it's struggling there, Justin.
I had to take it down and move it out of behind me. It stretches out behind me, but that was apparently what was overloading everything and making it lag. I sat for 2 days working with it and had it dialed in perfect. I was so satisfied with it. And that's why I couldn't talk to you guys this morning when I first got on.
Good Lord.
Good morning and welcome in, True Texan. Let's see. And we do have lots of others on several different platforms. I can't see who they are right now. But thank you guys very much for being here. Good morning, Snark and Sass. Julie B, welcome. Smart Mouth MFer, welcome. Thank you very much.
I'm not sure if I'm going to welcome Smart Mouth MFer or not, but I agree with Snark and Sass. There's a huge difference between snark and bigotry. A huge one.
Oh, yeah.
Let me go back up here to Let's see. Now, where did that start at? Where did that
go up? Time to put warheads on raghead foreheads again.
Okay.
Time to suck foreskins in wherever motherfuckers from again. I don't know. I don't know what he was putting.
Oh, yeah. Hey, they, dude, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not watching the news much this week. What the hell's going on? I mean, are we
probably nothing? His cousin cut off his sex, and he's having to go outside the family for a dating pool. I don't know. I don't watch the news. That's why I'm always in a good mood.
Okay. Well, what about you, Rich? Are you a regular news watcher?
No, not at all.
I'm not either.
I will get the occasional headline from like Twitter. But yeah, no. Sometimes the news headline will come across the phone, the iPhone from Apple News, but no. Don't usually consume anything mainstream wise news. That is.
I usually, I get a lot of stuff sent to me that I check out and stuff.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm way behind this week. And if I didn't welcome, I did welcome Snark and Sass in.
What is True Text talking about? Had our Geraldo moment.
Oh, see, now if you guys have not subscribed or checked out Rusty Truck since he's been on the show, I'd recommend you go do that. They had a really good episode last night where they revealed a mole in their chat group, and he even looks like a mole.
Oh yeah,
a yellow turkey mole. So, welcome in everyone this morning. Thank you very much. We're going to have some fun. We're going to do a Sappy Unhappy here in just a moment that we missed last week, and that was totally my bad. We got started talking about time travel and the what was it, Justin? The back rooms, right? Okay. Now, see, we have back rooms. Rich has a basement, so
that's right,
with lots of stairs. So, I'm sorry we didn't get to talk backstage because you and Justin have a lot in common, Rich, because you're both in the, but you guys have a lot in common because you're both into music. You're both like making music. I won't give too much away about Rich, but Rich is a professional musician. Just like you, Justin.
Professionally bad at it. Well, I'd like to. You have to hit me up, Rich. Let me hear some of your stuff.
Yeah, no, I really don't though.
He really is. He used to tour with Journey and open up for him.
No,
you can't beat that.
Wow.
No,
sorry, Rich. I didn't mean to give it out. So
Yeah. Me and Neil, Sean, we're tight.
There you go. Now, Justin's a really good bass player. He's a good songwriter. Yes, he is. He's even like a good, good at putting stuff together. Like last week when we came on and talked backstage, me and Justin, I'm like, hey man, before, you take off today, it was a show. And he said, let me play you something I've been working on. I, actually composed this. And as soon as the show was over, he got the hell off. So, he was not backstage anymore to be found. And I'm like, what I put together.
That's not how that went.
Yes, it is.
No, I don't remember you saying that.
Yes, you do. You're like, okay, cool. Because I was trying to find it before we got started, and we had to go ahead and start the show. So, Rich, feel free to say anything you want to say. Talk about anything you want to. I know we got it listed as paranormal because you have had some ghost encounters, and we'll get to those here in just a little bit.
Yeah. Sure.
Justin, do you want to start out with our Sappy Unhappy?
Yeah. All right. I'm not sure this is the right one. It's the one from last week, right? Michael? No, wait, no.
Now, we do have a lot of new people in, so while you're finding that, I think it was Douglas from last week.
It was.
If you're not familiar with Sappy Unhappy, basically what we do is we have told people before when we first did it, if there's a movie or TV show that affects them in an emotional way, to write in and let us know. Well, the first time we did it, we did not know what everyone was going to put and send in and so forth. And basically, when Justin reads it, what would you say? Try to make people laugh we try to get the sad moment and find laughter in it.
Yeah,
and
just make it happy. Just give it a little audio accompaniment to make the sad moment happy.
You will see how we do that in just a moment. So, Justin, take it away, my friend.
Goose and Justin, here is a sappy, unhappy moment that I'd like to share with you and the audience. When I think back to something that made me really sad growing up, it was an episode of the TV show Knight Rider. The episode still brings tears to my eyes. In the episode, a family with a young son is the target of a mafia hitman known as the Intern. Michael and Kit team up to find the hitman and protect the family, but the hitman manages to reach the house first and takes the little boy hostage. As he holds the boy at gunpoint, the hitman and Michael square off in an intense battle of wills. In the end, Michael wins out and saves the little boy, but not before the hitman fires a fatal shot at the family's mom, who was standing nearby. After the hitman escapes, the father arrives home to find his desperately wounded wife lying in the street. In the end, the mom passes away, and the heartbreaking scene culminates with the father and son hugging in grief. It was a particularly emotional episode that emphasized the importance of family and love, even in the midst of danger and tragedy. It's one of those episodes that I will never forget. Thank you for your time and for laughing at me, Douglas.
Oh, so that's our
well, it's not. Look, usually I can sympathize, but I just think mom should have moved quicker.
Well, thank you very much, Douglas, for writing in, and thank you for letting us laugh at you over your sappy and happy moment that makes you cry, based on a movie and TV show. Life is a highway. Get over it, my friend. Rich, is that the first time you've heard our sappy unhappy moment?
Yeah, I'm afraid so. Yeah.
My son actually gave me that idea several months ago, and we actually got our friend Bolin and Elliot to send us the first ones, and they had no clue what we were going to do. So,
yeah. Then you're talking about Mr. Cox, right? Bolin.
Mr. Cox, that is right.
Yeah,
Bolin Cox.
Senor Cox.
Senor. There you go. There you go. He might like that pretty good. Senor Cox out on the trail. So, legend has it that he may or may not be related to the late great Kenny Rogers. So,
it does kind of favor him.
It's his son. I've seen pictures. I've seen picture proof. It's his son.
Kenny never did claim him though, did he?
No.
Okay.
I need to
find busy with them restaurants there.
Well, no, he's actually dead, Rich.
I said he was.
Oh, okay. I thought
you died.
Where the hell have you been?
Yeah, man.
I don't know. It looked to me like that nose was going to live forever after he had it fixed. It's not rotted and decomposed yet. Most of Michael Jackson has yet to start decomposing.
Oh, he looks exactly the same.
There's no doubt. He looked like Skeletor to begin with. I can see that.
Yeah. So, the comment you just made about Kenny Rogers
and his nose.
What was that comment? Make it one more time.
I thought his nose would live forever after he had it fixed.
I was just a little bit late. Sorry about that.
It's that green screen lag. It's still lagging. Listen, people, if things had went the way they should have went today, I had this beautiful backdrop and it was all nice and everything.
It actually had the Ghostbuster symbol, and he actually took the thumbnail that I made, and when I logged in and saw him, I'm like, "You asshole! You didn't tell me he was wearing a costume." So
I did see it.
It looked great. It just I don't know if it's my computer couldn't handle it and it just dawned on me. I was trying to talk to Goose, during the show and tell him, it's been on my end for 2 days because I was trying to record videos on my personal StreamYard yesterday, trying to do a little quick video, and it was lagging so bad I couldn't. And I was like, well, man, maybe it's my internet because we don't have the best of internet down here most of the time. But 2 days in a row, I wouldn't have had that problem. And the minute I turned off my background, it quit lagging. I was like,
well, it does. Is it one of the softwares that's built into the webcam?
No, it's actually something built in the StreamYard.
Oh, okay.
So I would have thought they could have handled it. But my PC, like I've got a little laptop. I'm not PC savvy, and I used to run that all the time with Zoom. I just didn't have the green screen, but I would run the backgrounds all the time with Zoom, and my iPhone would run them really well. But for Zoom, but I don't know. It might be. I'm gonna have to do some research into that, and very little because I'm lazy.
Can't you do that on StreamYard now?
That's what he was saying. That's what he was doing.
That's what I'm saying. It wouldn't.
No, I'm talking about not doing the actual physical green screen, but the digital one.
Yeah, I can, and it just don't. But it has a box there where you can check on StreamYard. Do you have a green screen or not? And if you check yes, apparently it goes insane, and it just can't handle it. Let's see here.
Oh, well, that would definitely do it. Now, I did have some people ask me last week when they saw me out in public and stuff. Did your daughter ever say anything about the phone call from last week?
No.
Yeah, that's it. Look at it. That's what does it.
You've got it lagging. It is lagging.
That's crazy.
Don't know. I don't know why. No, she never mentioned a thing. Actually, I forgot about it. She's been in New York for a few days, and my wife's talked to her, but I've not talked to her, but I forgot about it. I never mentioned it to my wife.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, I forgot. Look, I have no memory. I barely remember my name most days. And
New York City.
Listen, I believe that I have mental issues to begin with, and then I hear as more from Farnsworth in a day than I do from my own family. So there's that, and I'm mentally, I'm not all there.
I'm double checking something here really quick. I'm going to post a what do they call it? A ticker? Is
it's called a shocker. You don't even have to look it up. A shocker is 2 in there and then 1, but you bend this finger.
Yeah, okay. It's all about the angle.
Yeah.
Now,
a male gel is not called a shocker.
Okay.
It's called.
I was just making sure I had it right there.
That's where all 4 go in the 1 and hook.
Gotcha.
Oh,
yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that sounds fine. I don't want to go to jail.
Yeah.
That. You don't want to go to jail. Good morning, Minton State Media. Welcome in. Anyone that I missed, I'm sorry. Justin, do you have any prank calls that you do want to make, or do you want me to call Mother Goose? I am going to call Mother Goose because I know Rich gets a.
Oh yeah.
He likes when we call her. So
I love Mama Goose.
Okay, now do you have anything planned? I mean, hell, if you want, we can prank call Mother Goose. I'll call her from the New York number. I don't think we've ever called her.
We need a number to a massage parlor that's open on Sundays. Is what we need. Because I need a massage, but I've got questions about how we end that massage.
Well, that is okay. I'm gonna call her from the New York number then. So get ready for this. Let me go over here.
Well, now, hold on. Let's not do Mother Goose. Let's not bother me. Let's talk to Mother Goose, and then we'll prank somebody after that. What? Because you make me feel guilty all the time. It's always early.
Why make you feel guilty?
Because I'm easily manipulated, and then Mama Goose is under the impression that I'm a good person.
No, she's not. Who told you that bullshit?
Mother Goose loves me. I'm her favorite. So she told me
she does think a lot of you.
Yes, you that she would trade. I wasn't supposed to tell you that. That's what she told me.
Well, she does think a lot of you, so she definitely does. So you just want to call her straight up, then?
Just call her straight up.
Okay, all right, we will do it. Now, she's not expecting this. Normally sometimes I'll be like, hey, I'm going to call you, just to, just make sure she's awake or, just whatever. But I've not done that this morning. So we'll go ahead and give her a call. Rich, I don't have anything planned. So it's spur of the moment off the top of my head. Just go along with it.
Let her rip.
All right, here we go. Let's give her a call. And then after, Justin has agreed, not directly after, but later on to prank call her. Right, Justin?
I'll prank call you.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Call her on her home phone.
I think you need a Mother Goose theme song, like right before you call her.
That's a good idea.
Hello. Gee, give me one. Hey, I don't think I can hear you. Can you hear me? Do you know who this is? She may be clicking. She may be clicking on here in just a moment.
I know who it is.
Oh, okay. Hey, there you go. Do you know who this is?
Can you?
This is Jose with the furniture store. We're coming to repossess your furniture for non-payment.
Well, you can contact my son.
We already have. He didn't answer his phone.
Well, I'm telling you now to just go ahead and contact him. He was supposed to pay for it.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Oh, good morning, Mom. And, I have Justin with me, and I have a special friend as well I want to introduce you to. His name is Rich. And hey, do you remember the cartoon Inspector Gadget?
Yes.
Okay. He is the creator of that cartoon. That was based off of the old TV show Get Smart.
Really?
Yes. Rich, can you hear Mother Goose okay?
I can. Mother Goose, it's a pleasure. I'm a huge fan of yours.
Well, thank you. And I am of yours.
Oh, do tell.
Now he's super talented.
What was your favorite episode of Inspector Gadget? Justin, quit laughing at my mom.
I wasn't laughing at Mama Goose. I was laughing at my cat.
Oh, okay.
And plus,
Yeah,
I
Mom,
was
go ahead.
the gynecology episode.
Is that for real?
Yeah.
I never know
That's-
what you're doing, Dave.
Do you remember what was the name of the little cartoon he drew in the newspapers too? The one with Garfield. He after the guy that created Garfield got sick, he actually started doing that for a while, and then he did in the Inspector Gadget TV show. He started out in a periodical in a magazine called Penthouse Forums, and he drew erotic pictures for that for years before he got the job for Inspector Gadget. If you look at Inspector Gadget's nose, you kind of see that influence.
I have always thought that his nose looks like a penis. Was
It
that
does.
true, Rich? Did you specifically kind of design the nose to look like a penis?
I never told anybody for years, but yeah, that's your information is good, Justin.
Well, I do a
Did you
lot
hear
of
that, Mom? You just was in the presence and heard breaking news.
Yes. So, what are you all up to today?
We are actually talking about our top favorite Inspector Gadget episodes. And I would like to ask you what yours is.
That's been such a long
Okay.
time.
Well, what about your favorite cartoon? Because I do remember you being a huge fan of Beavis and Butthead.
No, that's not true.
Oh, that's right. It was South Park that you liked, right? You went around back in the day singing that song, Salty Chocolate Balls.
every time I seen her out in public.
I don't even know what that is.
It was
You
catchy.
know what my
It
favorite
was.
cartoon was?
It was. What?
Yogi Bear.
Oh, well, it just so happens Rich used to do voiceovers for Yogi Bear. Can you believe that? Hey, boo-boo, let's go get another picnic basket, boo-boo. My last time we got in trouble, Yogi. Hey, boo-boo, that was last time. Rich, you still have it, my friend. That is awesome.
Thank you, man.
That's pretty good.
What did you think
Early.
about that, Mom?
Oh, I loved it.
Now, he has agreed to autograph a dildo and mail it to you that is like the shape of Inspector Gadget's nose.
Goose, would you put a sock on it?
Well, I mean, you won't be able to see the autograph if I put a sock on it, but I don't care a bit to put a sock on
I
it.
mean, on your mouth.
A sock will not protect against sexually transmitted diseases. Now you can still get pregnant with a sock too.
I did not know that.
That's
Can you
how I have
really?
a second kid. Yeah.
I did not know that. Now, I do know that like trash bags don't work. That's what was that, Justin?
I said it was a women's sock. That might have been the problem. I don't know. It was more than enough to cover it. It just didn't.
Now, are you sure it wasn't pantyhose?
No, I do that just when it's me alone. I enjoy that.
Oh, okay,
It feels nice. But no, I've never. They got holes in them. I'm not gonna use that for protection.
Now, Mom, if you are needing something to do today, I recommend you checking out a good movie called Ed Wood. It's based on the life of filmmaker Ed Wood. Come out in 94, and Johnny Depp plays Ed Wood.
More important, Bill Murray's in it.
Is it on Netflix?
I think so, yes. But you will like it. I mean, you really will. It is a good movie.
Wow. Okay.
Just remember the phrase, pull the string. And whenever he says that, don't turn away.
David, if you recommend...
No, I'm being serious. They say that in the movie.
They aren't messing with you. He's not messing with you on that one, Mama Goose.
Oh, really?
I wouldn't let him do that this morning, especially this early.
Rich told me not to call you.
Well, I told you to be nice.
Yeah, he did.
I think we both said that, and he ignored it completely.
I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, Mom, Rich is actually Justin's probation officer.
Yeah. The only way I could do the show today is if I brought him with me, because you can't leave the state and you can't do all this stuff. And then, do you know what keystring is, Mother Goose?
What?
Keystring. It's not important. It's not important. But that's how I got a keystring the second time. And so yesterday, I have to have normal exams now because of that. Is stretching of I forget what they call it. We'll call it the anus tube. And that's caused a lot of problems for me personally and in a health aspect. And so I have to have that checked a lot. And so I have to actually leave the state to go to a specialist proctologist that does that. So Mr. Rich had to go with me. You probably know of him. He's got a partner he works with named Big. But he went with me, went in, it's
music too.
Checked. Yeah.
I thought he was like Rich from the Flavor Rich family that make the milk.
That's their cousins.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, pardon my language, Mother Goose, but it was a shitty situation.
Oh yes, yeah. Well, I didn't run my enema before I went. You're supposed to do that 24 hours before and get everything clean, and I didn't. But anyway, that's why Rich had to be with me. And I'm wearing a diaper today, and because it's like a day or two after you're a little incontinent for a couple of days, but it's not a permanent thing.
Yeah. You have any thoughts on that, Mom? What?
To each own.
Uh-huh.
Now there was a guy in there at the doctor's office. What was his name? Dr. Big Thumb?
Yeah.
No. Big Thumb. Big Thumb.
There was a guy in there from Paintsville, Kentucky, the same time. And somehow he had managed to keister a 17-inch MacBook Pro with the charger and a battery bank. And
look, I've been in with guys. I mean, when you're used to it, once you've stretched that wall, it's similar to a rubber band at a minimal amount of stretching, but once you can get anything in there. I mean, almost anything. Camcorders, small animals. Richard Gere.
Gerbils, yeah. I'm glad the whole gerbil thing seemed to have faded out with tight rolled jeans in the 90s.
Yeah,
doesn't seem like that happens anymore. Those poor animals were just decimated by the gay community.
Yeah, and the cat population went up so much. My Uncle Walt got like 3 cats in a row, and he kept getting them stuck in his ass. And he got that third cat, and I said, Uncle Walt, why in the world did you get another cat? You're just going to get it stuck in your ass.
I thought the gays were terrified of pussy.
What was that? He just liked stuff in his butt.
Oh, okay.
You all are disgusting.
Oh, not. I had to pay them to make this phone call. They did not want to do it.
That's a true story about my Uncle Walt. They was in a movie. He was the first part of Mallrats, and they retell the story. It was in the movie.
Oh, you're talking about the stink palm.
Yeah, same movie. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Jason Smith.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let me ask you
all right.
is there a Sunday that you would be interested in having a show that does not discuss anything like this?
So you mean just like sitting around and just staring at everybody on screen?
Actually, we got the guest for her.
Just find a topic.
Mm-hmm.
It's not disgusting, and get everybody's intake on it.
Now we actually have done that several times.
You might be a bad influence, Mother Goose, because it never gets to this. Like, we don't, until you bring this stuff up, we never discuss it.
Mother Goose.
Week, there was nothing bad said all week. You can go back and listen to the show. It was a good show all week.
Yeah.
Mother Goose, this is Rich, and I do want to tell you my idea was shot down, and I wanted to review the New Testament this morning. I wanted to look at the inner and outer workings of the New Testament.
He's telling you the truth. He's like my 12 point that you talked to a few weeks ago that I played the song for you.
Well, that would have been a great topic.
I agree.
Well, we got a guy coming on this month.
I can try to pull that song and play it again if you want to talk about it, Mom. But you didn't seem to like it the first time I played it for you.
You see,
oh, okay.
On my show last night, Mother Goose, we did a study of the Gospels. So, I mean, we went through Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and, just did a brief synopsis of it. And it was well received by the audience. And I'm working on this on your boy. I'm going to try to get him straight.
Oh, he's...
Well, now, when I had him at home, he was nothing like he is right now.
What's that supposed to mean? No, we're not going to start telling those stories here or anything. First, what's that comment?
What?
What is that comment supposed to mean that you just said?
He didn't say bad words. And
he doesn't cuss.
He could talk.
Whoops.
The conversation and not come up with anything nasty. But then when it got out of my thoughts,
I think she's saying this is my fault, and she may be right.
No, Justin is going to remember this. Before Justin came on board, we did like a little short, what would you call it, Justin? Like mini show called Believe It or Not, spelled KNOTT.
Yeah.
And we actually used one of those episodes on the radio one time. And we were talking about like 80s pop culture. And I brought the fact up that I had a Samantha Fox poster. She was a singer and she was topless in it. And it was taped on the back of my bedroom door. And you never knew it because my bedroom door stayed open the entire time.
Oh, is that right?
That is correct. So
what was the name?
Samantha Fox. You don't remember Samantha Fox?
I'm gonna have to look her up.
You have to look her up. Touch Me was her first video. That's where I discovered her at. I was like in fourth or fifth.
And he discovered touching him. Yeah.
But Mom, thank you very much for taking time to talk to us this morning. What's your plans for today?
Well, I'm waiting for my husband to get up,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna fix him a nice breakfast and sit around and enjoy my day.
Well, good. Now, I do think when Mr. 12 Point comes in to do some missionary work where he's going to stay with you, I may be able to get Rich to come up too, and then Justin's just right down the road from me, and we would like to come up and eat breakfast as well.
Oh, well, I don't know if I can do it right soon.
No, I'm talking about like next week. I don't want you to do it today because we wouldn't be able to get there.
He'll put blindfolds on us. We won't know where you live.
I don't care for you knowing where I live.
I wish my mom was that way.
All right, now Justin, listen to this. You two, Rich, because you two are going to feel like shitheads. Go ahead, Mom. Say what you're about to say.
It's not funny, Dave.
I'm not laughing at that. I'm just laughing because I can imagine what the expression on Justin's face is going to look like here after you say this.
Well, my husband, he's in hospice. He's sure at home, but they are going to start coming out one day a week.
Oh,
really.
Justin, why's your face turning red?
I did nothing wrong. I hope everything gets better. And in all seriousness, if you need anything at all from me, I'm closer than baby boy is right now. And anything you need, you just let us know. And if he needs me to go do something for you guys, I'll gladly come do it.
Thank you very much, Justin. That really sincerely means a lot to me, my friend.
And I mean that. But I also mean that if something like you're not supposed to have like chocolates or something like that when hospice is, I can keister that in and get it in for you. But I will help you in any way I can, and I do mean that from the bottom of my heart.
Mom, before you hang up and we get attacked by everybody watching right now, did this make you feel better? Did you enjoy talking to us this morning?
I did.
All right, good.
I just enjoy hearing your all's voice.
Well, good. You know, you have a big fan base out there, and people mistakenly think that you're really sweet and nice, and you don't want to hurt anyone's feelings.
I don't want to hurt no one.
Okay. Well, you have a good day, Mom. I love you very much. And before I go, someone has commented, and they are a lovely person. They watch every week. Mud Digger, she says, "So sorry, Mother Goose. Hugs and prayers."
Oh, I appreciate that so much.
So
I really do.
You are very welcome. You know, for me reading that, you know, but let's see. Christy says, tell Mother Goose anything she needs and I could help her with love and prayers. So see, you do have a huge fan base.
That's so sweet.
We all love you, Mother Goose, very much.
And I love
even your son.
I love you very much, Mom, and I'm blessed to be your son, and you have a good day, and let me know if you need anything.
And I'm blessed to be your mother.
Well, you should be. You definitely should count your blessings, because I'm a pretty special guy.
Yeah, you kind of hit the lottery there.
In my book, you are.
Well, thank you very much, Mom. I love you. You have a great day.
Love you.
Goodbye, Mother Goose.
Hey, Mom, Rich wants to tell you bye.
Okay.
Goodbye, Mother Goose. It was absolutely wonderful to finally get to speak to you.
Well, thank you, and you have a nice day.
Well, thank you. You do the same.
All right. Talk to you later, Mom. Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Oh, yeah. He was, my stepdad's one of the family members I was insinuating when I started the show. So, and I knew what she was going to say before she started to say it. And
early on, I would have been like, "Oh God," I'd have felt, but like, she's such a wonderful human being, and she has such a good sense of humor. Like, you can't beat Mama Goose, and she is such a good sport. She is a wonderful person.
She really loves talking to us, you know, and us joking with her, you know, because she's told me before, she's like, "You all can call me every time you do a show." I said, "Well, you know, I don't want people to get burnt out on you." She's like, "What does that mean?" I'm like, "Well, I don't want them to get tired of you and start hating you." She's like, "Well, why would they do that?" So I'm like, "Well, you know, they wouldn't." So what was her stripper name again? Do you remember what I said her stripper name was, Justin?
I think it was Patty Puckerstring. I don't remember. I don't. Oh, no, that was my name in jail. No, I don't remember. She's reluctant to talk about it sometimes, so you get very little out of her. You know, I probably some high-end car name, something Mercedes, Buick, Lexus.
Yeah, like that. But she really does love that, you know, and thank you guys very much, you know, Rich, Justin, thank you everyone, you know, for being a fan of my mom's, and thank you, Justin, for offering to, you know, help if she needed help and stuff. But, you know, because I know this really made her day and made her feel better, because, you know, she had earlier in the week, had been pretty down in the dumps. So I don't even think did I tell you about that, Rich?
No, you didn't about your stepfather.
Yeah.
No. I just know about the other situation.
And so it's you know, it's been a week, but I know that made her feel good because she was laughing. You could hear it in her voice. So then that was Mother Goose. So yes, she was a retired mud wrestler. She was a champion for 3 years in a row.
Dominant champion.
Yeah, exactly. No, but I was going to ask her, what size, to tell everyone what size shoes she wore, because when I was little, she would have to go to the, and she still does. She has to go to the little girl section, like the kids section, like 6 and 7 year old girls, to get shoes that fit her because her feet are so small, for real. So, that was a good call though. So, Justin, do you have an update on the Reverend Billy Ray Farnsworth when he will be on the show?
That he nonstop. What day are we not going to be there? And then that's what day he can be there.
Okay. Well, next Sunday, I don't think I'll be able to make it next Sunday. I'm not 100% sure on that. So, if not, everybody just watch the YouTube community pages, and I'll post early if we're going to do show on another day. If it's a rerun, I won't post anything. So, or if it's a best of series or like whatever, I will post about that as well. So,
if it turns out we record on a different day, I can't cut, there's a very good chance that he can. I mean, look, if nothing else, he may be able to drive to the studio, but if nothing else, he can do it online.
Yeah.
And that might be the best way to deal with him.
Well, yeah, it will, because then I can just cut him off back here when I get tired of his bullshit. So.
Yeah, that would be my advice. Do it online. But if not, I mean, we can do something with him. We can get him in. I might even be able to pre-record with him, something like that. We can get him on. So let's say next Sunday, tentatively, he's going to be on, whether it's Sunday or whatever day we end up recording.
Yeah, once that works. Really quick, the story that I told about the poster on the back of my door. One of her friends that she worked with in the education system actually heard that on the radio when we were on the radio talking about that, and they saw me out, and they're like, I asked your mom how many nudie posters you had when you was little, and she's like, well, he didn't have none. I don't know what you're talking about. And she's like, well, he was on the radio talking about it.
Well, she didn't count the Tom Selleck one.
No. Thank God.
All have that. I mean,
thank God she did not find that one.
Yeah,
but I mean, had a cousin of mine gave me that poster, and
I did Google Samantha Cox touch me topless.
Okay.
Because Samantha Cox topless was just a nightmare.
Yeah, I would say that's Bowen's little sister. So, I forgot to welcome in Miss Vicky Newman. Welcome, Miss Vicky, and there was a few more people there.
But yeah, it looks a little 80s for my taste. But those were the times.
Dude, that was the best music ever. No, the early 2000s with Stained and bands like that, wasn't bad as well. So
Stained, that was good stuff.
They're
doing some stuff again, and
I heard that
Aaron has been doing solo stuff for a long time.
He's been doing your country stuff.
He actually came to Pikeville here.
Yeah, he's
last fall, I think.
He came here at small setting shows, like 100 people, and you got to talk to him afterwards and everything. Really cool down to earth guy. Yeah,
now, I seen Stained years ago when it's still Stained, and that first album I still listen to beginning to end. They lost me completely after that. I don't know what it was. It was the first one was just heavier, and I'm a metal guy. I liked it, but I loved that first album.
Yeah, it was good.
Same.
But Mud Shovel, and every band I've ever been in, we've covered Mud Shovel at some point.
So Far Away is a great song.
That's a cool bass line in Mud Shovel too.
Yeah,
that's what opens the song.
Two professional musicians coming together.
It looks like Samantha was on the cover of Penthouse.
Yes, she was. But she was just on the cover because she's from England, and she actually had insurance on her breast through what's the big insurance company in England? And I'm sure everyone watching does not want to hear about this. But
what are you talking about?
Lords and Harrys or something like that?
Lords of London is
Lords of London. Lords and Harrys is Dumb and Dumber. Lords of London. Hell, I feel like Dumb and Dumber right now for saying Lloyd's and Harry's. But Lords of London is where she had the insurance policy at. So
Wow.
I insured one testicle.
Okay.
Why just one?
The other one's just not that great. You know what I mean? Like, I don't. Why put the money in it? You know what I mean? It just kind of hangs there.
Good morning, Info Warrior. Well, that is true. So, Rich.
Yes, sir.
When and where did you have your first ghost experience, and what happened?
All of my ghost experiences are within the last 24 months.
Wow.
I'd managed to make it 40 some years without any ghost experiences. And I don't know if I've told the story kind of briefly once. The first one, the ghost was my father, and it was bizarre. Did you want me to tell you that story?
Yes, sir. Please, by all means.
So, my father passed away about 4 years ago. It was actually 4 years ago last week because his sister died on the same day 4 years later. But anyway, so when my mother, I guess she has never lived alone at all. And when Dad passed away, my kids were a little bit older. I was, at the time, like I said, I was divorced. I had a girlfriend, but we didn't live together. And my sister has young babies. So she's 5 years younger than I am. So I moved in with my mother right when Dad passed away, for a couple months to get her up on her feet and going. And they had a great big house, probably 8,000 square feet. So I occupied the basement. And I was able to set up, king size bed. I took my projector over there, it's a big 12-foot screen television, the whole 9 yards. So, like I said, I slept in the basement, and this was very shortly after Dad had passed, maybe, I don't know, it maybe 30 days, 45 days. And I woke up. The best thing I can call it is maybe sleep paralysis is, when I've heard people describe sleep paralysis, where you're kind of awake, but you're kind of not. And you see things. Well, anyway, I woke up and I remember specifically looking at the clock, and it was 3:33 in the morning, and I heard the toilet flushing in the bathroom, and then I heard somebody walking towards the side of the basement that I'm in, and I look up and it's my father, and like it's him. It's like real as shit. And I'm like, hey, what was going on? Like you're not supposed to be here. And because I can remember specifically not wanting to say you're dead. And he looked at me. He was like, well, I was just, checking on your mother. And, he's like, I was checking on Ron across the street. And there was a guy that was sick that he had kept up with through the years, a neighbor. And he was like, he's like, I wanted to watch some television. And he said, if I do it upstairs, on the middle floor to wake your mom up. And he said, I don't want to startle her. And so I'm like, all right, sure. So he goes over and sits in the seat that he would sit in, the recliner over there, and proceeds to just watch the Golf Channel. Eventually, I kind of fall asleep, and I wake up. And I remember waking up at 3:41, and then I'd fully come to at 3:41. So the crazy part was when I woke up, the TV was on, and it was on the Golf Channel.
Wow.
Now, in order to do that, I had not set up any kind of like universal remote to where that would be easy. Not to mention, any of the remotes were all over on the coffee table, which would have taken me, getting out of bed, walking about 10 steps, and not only playing with the remote, it's playing with 5 remotes. I mean, I would have had to turn the projector on, let it warm up, turn on the receiver, turn on the cable box, and then I have no fucking clue. Sorry, no clue.
Oh, you're fine, brother.
What
You are
what
fine.
what number channel the golf channel is. Even
Right.
though I like watching golf or whatever, I got no clue. Like, I knew what ESPN was and the local channels. That's it. And it's there plain as day, just playing the golf channel at like a medium volume, and I'm sitting there going, "What the hell just happened?" And it felt, I mean, the whole thing felt completely real. It's just when I was up and he was talking to me, it's like I couldn't say anything back, but like he was there. That's why it sounds kind of like sleep paralysis without, because people say you can't talk, and like
Yeah.
for some people it can be extremely scary because you just feel like you're in between, I guess consciousness and not. So it was bizarre. But like I said, what got me is the TV being on and everything.
But
It's
I mean,
not easy to do all
no,
that.
no. And on the channel, you didn't know what channel it was on the golf channel.
No,
That
no
I
clue.
mean that happened, Rich. I do not think it was sleep paralysis, like you said. I think that happened because I've made comments on the show before in the past that I didn't believe, but I've had a few encounters, and I don't really know if I've mentioned this one or not, but I had a similar incident where I saw my grandmother, that my mom's mom, who like grandmother Goose, who her and my grandfather, who's still alive and I talk to every evening, pretty much raised me along with my mom, and I had a similar, like 3 second, 4 second max encounter with her about a month after she passed away. How long had it been when you had that, Rich?
Like how long since he had passed?
Yeah, since you had that.
Well, like I said, I didn't stay with mom that long. I came back a few months later to help her because, like I said, they had a great big house, and they had a couple of different estate sales, and just minimizing what they had collected over being married almost 50 years, and well, it was more than 50 years. So, but I'm trying to think, that first stint that I was staying with her, it was less than 60 days. So it happened. Yeah,
right.
it was
So
less
it was
than
kind of in
60 days.
the same time
Right.
frame.
Yeah.
Justin, do you have any questions about that? I love that story.
I do too. And it's almost like it's more than even and being something supernatural in the form of just, wow, you saw something supernatural. Like it's almost like a form of closure. You get that last connection, or you get that, maybe it's just something supposed to make you feel good. Now, you mentioned it being on the golf channel. That made me think demonic possession or something like that, but minus the golf channel, I think it's a beautiful thing. And really, like, you didn't feel threatened, obviously, in any way.
No, not at all. That's
it's a positive experience. So, really, I don't see any reason to question it. And that's not the way I've been in the past. But to me, anything that, positive and in that type of moment, there's a value to it. There's also obviously a purpose to it, or it wouldn't have happened.
right. Yeah, I mean, I think I did feel good after it. Like, I don't know. It was bizarre. But yeah, I wasn't scared by the experience at all. Like I said, it's like it would be just like if it actually happened. I mean, it was just weird. So,
I love that story. That you know, just I mean, really quick on my grandmother. Like I said, it had been, you know, about a month, and I was working late one night. I was working, you know, as a deputy in the county I grew up in, and I was going on a. It was late. It was like 1:30 in the morning. I was the only one out, and I mean, probably the closest other unit was in probably 60, 70 miles away, which may have took 2 hours to get there. But I was going on a bad complaint, and I turned on Highway 80, which is a 4-lane, you know. And I mean, do people still call it the new road, Justin? I mean, hell, it's been there since 1982.
Yeah, I still call it New 80.
I mean, it's 40 years old, but they still call it the new road. But anyway, I turned on that, and I just, you know, my grandmother, when she was alive, and I threatened her a couple of times to take her scanner away because she would hear me and them, you know, give me complaints and stuff on the scanner. And I wouldn't even have time to ask questions to the dispatcher before she was ringing my cell phone off the hook. Do you have to go to that? Is there anybody to go with you? Please be, you know, I mean, and I told her, I'm like, Mama, I'm going to take your scanner away from you. No, you're not. No, you're not, you know. And, but she would not go to sleep until she heard me call 1010, which meant out of service, you know, you were off duty. And then she would go to sleep. And she did that for years, you know, until she passed away. And I remember, you know, turning on this 4-lane and thinking, you know, if my mama was alive, she'd be calling me right about now. And I looked in my inside rearview mirror. She was sitting in the back seat. And I saw her plain as day.
wow.
And she said, this call that you're going on, told me the man's name, told me what he looked like, what he had on, and told me he had a gun hidden in a certain spot. And so by the time that I actually, and it was really quick, you know, 4 seconds max, but I couldn't, I mean, I got out, I love you. And I like physically went to turn around and look, and she was gone.
Gone. Yeah.
So when I get to this location, everything that she said turned out to be true.
That's crazy.
So, you know, and I don't think that I've shared that story on the show. I think that I've said that I've saw her, but I didn't go into detail and stuff. But
so how long had it been since she had passed?
It had been a little bit over a month. So because she passed away the first part of April, and this was like mid-May. So it had been, you know, maybe 5 weeks. So
she was in like the back of the cruiser.
She was in the passenger side back seat.
Should have cuffed her better, and she's obviously a rat. So, I'm just saying,
but, you know, and I can understand, Rich, how that helped you with closure, because it's like I never got that, because when she was in the hospital, you know, I had to go back home, you know, because I was working. I had 2 small kids. Well, actually one, and then the other one hadn't been born yet. And, you know, I always like kind of kicked myself, you know, that I had to leave and I wasn't there. And so that gave me closure. And that's something that I'll never forget, you know. But I can, and that's why I love your story so much, Rich. That's, you know.
Yeah, it's
thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah, it's weird, like the closure. I was really close with my dad, so I mean we worked together for a short stint, and in his family business. But yeah, I mean we were super close, and my dad was he was a big time golfer. He won the Tennessee State Amateur in 78, 79 sometime, but he had a tour card for 2 years.
Wow.
And so he was a big golfer, and you know, he died on the golf course, which is just beautiful. Like I told you, he had that almost that same cancer diagnosis that your family member, and was given basically, I think it was 6 months to a year to live. And, he died 16 years later, not from cancer.
That's awesome.
So, he died on the golf course, and that's when I counted. They kept him alive. There was, he was playing golf with there was a Pennsylvania state trooper in town that was there for a wedding that had jumped in with his 3 other buds, to make a 4th. And he knew CPR, and they kind of got him back a couple times. But, yeah, when he checked out, they tried to keep him alive for a while, but then finally, that was on a Friday. And finally on a Sunday, the doctors were like, cognitively, there's nothing there, so it was, it was one of those decisions. Do you keep him on a machine forever and, hope that something comes back, blah, blah, blah. So ultimately they decided to pull the plug. Well, my girlfriend, I didn't want to see my dad like that. And she came in when they were going to do it, and she convinced me to be there, when it happened. And I'm so glad that she did that. Because that was really the closure. And it was wild, man. The preacher was there and his wife, and there's probably 12 or 15 people crammed in that little room. And I forget what hymn was my dad's favorite hymn. I could sing it, but I don't know the name. But so they unplugged him, and the preacher starts randomly singing the hymn. And you watch the heart rate fall, right? And I swear to God, he hung on the entire hymn until the last word, and then he flatlined. It was crazy. But yeah, I'm glad I saw that. That was closure for me. But just seeing him that second time was crazy. Like I said, it was so bizarre because it was so real. But yeah, I never believed in any kind of ghost or entities or, because I'd never seen anything that didn't have some kind of scientific explanation as to how it could have possibly happened.
Well,
so,
sometimes there's not a scientific explanation. I mean, there's not. I've got a TikTok video saved that kind of goes along with something like that I've not, and I'll probably try to post that today. But it is an incredible, short that there's no scientific explanation whatsoever. And
yeah, I mean, the only thing I don't have any history of sleepwalking or anything. So again, in that state, I don't know that I would have been able to do what it took to get that thing on. And like I said, I definitely didn't know what the Golf Channel number was. So,
well, I'll be honest. I'm mostly a skeptical person, and I wasn't when I was younger. When I was younger, I was much more interested in that, and then I become fairly skeptical. And then I've had one or two things, and like you, much more recent. And I'm like, oh, how do I explain that? And they weren't big, and they were nothing as amazing as what happened to you. But my mindset, especially in the last year or two, on a lot of things has changed drastically. And I think that's a good thing. It's people, as you grow, you should change and
sure.
You should be better. And I wonder, maybe if you went to enough psychologists or enough, maybe there's a chemical, maybe science could form some sort of an answer that would satisfy them to what happened. But maybe that's not needed. You know what I mean? The experience and what you got from the experience and the beauty of that experience is far more important than what happened. You know what I mean? And maybe it shouldn't be explained, and that's why it can't be explained. And it's just, there was a value and a power in that experience, and you had it, and it has an impact on you that, obviously, the initial impact of it, but maybe it's something that you don't even recognize at this point, that way down the road, you can, you can draw back on and go, okay, I see why this happened, when it happened. And, you know, you may not have an explanation for it then scientifically, but it may even have more value to it at that point. But if nothing else, from here on out, you've had an experience that has a personal value to you that, regardless of what any explanation may be given to it by anybody, it can't devalue it.
Yeah, it's true. I'm like you too. I'm skeptical of everything. I question everything, no matter where it comes from.
But I think that's a good thing. And I think that's what allows you to be very positive about what happened. Like, you're positive about what you've seen and you're sure about what happened because of it,
no question.
And I think if you weren't skeptical and you didn't look at things through that skeptical point of view, you may even question yourself.
Absolutely.
On that. I think I would, you know, if I was just an all-in believer on every single thing, and I don't mean that in a bad way, like just every single thing that's ever happened, that every story I've ever heard, I'm just like, oh yeah, I believe that. Oh yeah, I believe that. Well, that may even devalue an experience like that if I had it personally, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, I a few weeks ago when Rusty was on and Justin hopped off really quick, didn't want to listen to my music. Me and Rusty talked for a little bit, and we talked. And I actually, I think, Rich, when me and you, like a couple of weeks after me and you started texting each other and getting to know each other, I sent you a link of some stuff that happened back in this area last year.
You make it sound like we were online dating there, Goose.
Well, no, when I mean, you know, hell, I'm not, you know, well, I'll have to say that when you come back on next time. I'm speechless there, but you got me. That was good. But, you know, I was talking to Rusty about that and then talking to him about, you know, one that, you know, there was a second thing that happened like a few years before that. And in both of those situations, you know, it was similar to, you know, my grandmother intervening and so forth. And so that, you know, that makes you realize that, you know, you've got something to do. And, you know, I'm not scared of dying. I'm scared of leaving my loved ones behind, you know, thinking about how, in the way that you described your relationship with your dad, that's me and my son. You know, he's 21, or no, he's 22. And, you know, that's me and him have said for the last like 6 years, you know, that if something ever happened, I don't even know how we got started talking about it. Well, I actually do, you know, because he currently works in the field that I retired from, and I'm very proud of him. But we talked about, you know, if something happened to one of us, giving each other a sign. And he, you know, he's like me, he forgets stuff after a little period of time, unless you remind him. And I'm like, I'll just, you know, write your name or write I love you on your mirror in your bathroom when it's steamed up and you're taking a shower. I'm like, if you see that, don't freak out. That's me watching over you. He's like, okay, I'll do the same thing. And that's been a couple of years since we told each other that. And, you know, he was talking about it, you know, a few weeks ago and stuff. And, you know, that's awesome. I mean, I really felt that, you know, because like I said, me and my son have the same type of relationship. And I know Justin and his son Ryder does as well. So.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I will pick up the phone once a day at least to try to call him, to tell him something. Like, you know, just something that I heard or some news on something or whatever. Still, it's wild.
I can totally understand that. So the second experience that you had, you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, that's a little that's a little more lighthearted, but it's crazy. So, like I said, I've got a temporary living situation going on, which is actually maybe over today. Just kind of waiting for somebody to finish up some work to move to another temporary situation. But this house, I essentially had the upstairs, and there was a younger couple that lived in the basement. And so the landlord and her husband, or I guess longtime boyfriend, basically, probably common law, whatever. The first night I came over here, let's just say he's super into like ghost entities, all that stuff, like all kinds of apps on his phone, stuff like that. And so like I'm setting up some stuff in the bedroom, and he brings in this ceramic plate that kind of stands up on its own, like a decorative piece, if you will. And it's Jesus, and he puts it in my window. He puts it in the windowsill. He's like, "You're gonna need this here." He was like, "There's all kinds of shit in this house." I was like, "Lovely." At that time, there was nobody living in the basement. It's just me in this 3,000 square foot house. And nothing ever messed with me. This guy, like, I think he brought out what was here in looking around and like poking around and doing all this stuff. And I mean, it got to the point, and again, it never bothered me personally, and I never paid attention to it, but y'all are fucking with me on Starlink, you fucking assholes. So anyway, it got to the point where they called in a minister to bless the home and to try to, rid the house of the spirit, whatever's in here. And then about a month after that, there were some, I guess, if you can call ghost hunters professional, there was a group of professional ghost hunters that came in. And I guess I say professional because they had spent a right good amount of money on equipment. They weren't, rinky-dink type of deal. And these dudes were, I mean, super into it. They filmed it. If it didn't dox me, it's on Facebook. And it's wild. So their determination, there's a young girl that was murdered in this home. That's actually buried in the chimney.
Wow.
And so what's wild is that's what came out in this session where they were communicating, right?
Okay.
These people have no idea the history of this house, like the ghost hunters or whatever. So the dude Max, the common law husband or whatever, you can tell where, I mean, plain as day, the chimney in this house was completely like destroyed and redone at one point because of their different color bricks. So I thought that was wild. But all the ghosts ever did to me, that's here was, it's a mimic, is what they call them. So they will mimic sounds, and that will even reproduce voices, things like that. Now, one time and only once, I went out to get the mail and left the storm door open. The main front door was wide open. The storm door was open, which is glass. And there was just a little bit of light shining in the foyer. And from outside, swear to God, it looked like about a 3 to 5 year old child that was carrying a baby doll by the right hand. And the baby doll was just kind of dragging on the ground. That image was there. And I saw that. But so anyway, there was the couple that was downstairs broke up for a time being, and he moved another chick in. The ghost totally fucked with this new girlfriend. I mean, she had to move out. She was scared as shitless of this house. Yeah. And the old girl, they got back together. And this girl that did move in, she was Satan, man. Like something was wrong with her. I hated her. And so did the ghost. And those folks have since moved out, and shit got more active when they moved out. So like whatever it is does not like change. To me, like she would talk about like she would feel something grab her legs when she was walking down the hallway, or she just knew something was there, like her heart, it was just crazy stuff. But to me, the only thing that happened was noises. Couple went to the beach early this summer. I was there by myself. There would just be random noises, like a cabinet shutting, or, like, how HVAC units can make weird noises and shit. Like noises like that, pops and, this and that. And like it would happen a lot. And I would just say, hey, quit that shit. And it would stop. And like I was never scared of it. Still here. I mean, it's not big deal. But the craziest thing that happened, and again, swear to God on the life of my children, and I love my children. One day we're sitting here and the girl that lives downstairs is down there. She's got 2 adult children. And so I hear the front door open from my bedroom, and I hear her son walk in the door, and he's saying, "Mom," he's like, "It's Nick." He was like, "I got Leah on the phone right now. She wants to talk to you." And then I heard Leah on the phone. Leah's only, I say they're grown. Leah's younger. She's a younger girl. She's probably 13, 12, 13, something like that. And I hear Leah on the speakerphone of her phone. And she yells up, "Hey, I'm downstairs." So I'm like, all right. And it was early in the morning. And I was like, well, I want to go say hi to Nick. He plays a bunch of computer games, so I always kind of shoot the shit with him. And he's a cool kid. So, I get dressed. It's first thing in the morning. I go to the top of the stairs. And I yell down. I'm like, hey, Lauren. I was like, where's Nick? And she's like, what are you talking about? Shit never happened. He was not there. The phone call didn't happen.
Wow.
None of that happened. Like,
Wow.
and I'm not, this wasn't sleep paralysis or asleep. I'm wide slam awake. Like I'd just gotten off like a 30-minute phone call in Asia. Like, I mean, I was wide awake. Like, so it was like 7:30 in the morning. So it happened. And that's, that was the mimic thing. I mean, the voices were spot on. And like I said, it was even that muffled kind of, when I heard Leah, like it was hearing her through like the speaker of a cell phone. It was wild. I heard the door open and shut. I heard him talking to his sister and talking to his mom. I heard Lauren respond to him that she was downstairs. Whole 9 yards. But so that happened. But other than that, it's just noises occasionally. Just shit. And again, these are real noises. There's a lot of noises in houses just depending on, especially when seasons are changing and you can have, floors can adjust and pop, and especially if you got like old pine floors. Oak's not as bad at doing it, but pine is so soft and it can make some noises. And then, HVAC units, depending on how much dust is in the filters, can cause pressure in those ductwork, and that can make weird noises. And but these are noises that are like something's dropping and falling. And then you'd go in, and they do. There was a house cat, and it was the coolest damn cat ever, but. I paid really close attention to it when they went to the beach, just because nobody else was in the house. So there's no explanation for what you're hearing with them being gone. And the cat, when they were gone, the cat stayed in my room. And if it wasn't in my bed, it was up. Like there's a set of both in the office room that I use and my bedroom. There's a set of windows that's like high. Like I'm 6'2", and like my eyes come up to like, you know, the bottom part of the window. Like, so they're high windows, and the cat would just stay in that windowsill, like looking outside. And so the cat was in the room with me the whole time when I'm hearing all this crazy shit.
Did you ever think the cat was wanting the hell out of there?
No, I mean the
cat seen some shit. It's like,
yeah, the cat. Yeah, she never did anything. She was the coolest cat. I'm a dog person. Like I never liked cats at all, and this cat changed me because it was the coolest damn cat. The cat was spoiled, fucking rotten, because, and it acted like a dog. Like she would come and she would get me. She would annoy the piss out of me when it was time for her to eat. Then she'd come back later, and that was time for her treats after. And then she'd come bug the piss out of me when she wanted to go outside. And then she would end up jumping in the small windowsill when she wanted to come back in and just start purring to come back in. It was just like a dog. Crazy.
Have you ever noticed or heard, and this goes for people in the chat too, if you have small children, that you can watch them sometimes just looking around like they see somebody else there.
Exactly.
And you know, and animals, people say that they're tuned in on the same frequency or whatever as well as small children. That's
I never thought about that. I always thought my daughter, when she was younger, was just kind of dumb. You know, it might have been. In all honesty, and I think I have told this. If not here, I told it on Spooky Family Podcast. When you remember them, they used to talk to us and engage with us, and Elliot used to be our friend. Yeah, great people. Completely wrote us off, except for Gertie and Bagel. Gertie and Bagel are still wonderful to us. Elliot, not so much, but my daughter was probably 3.5, maybe 4, and I come home from work, and I can't remember exactly what my wife said to me. It's something effective, you know, you're not going to believe what Katie said today. And I was like, okay. So, she sits down and it's like, you know, you just wait till you hear. So I go in and talk to Katie, and I'm like, what's up, baby? And she's like, I'm playing with my friends. And I was like, okay. And I was like, who's your friend? And I can't remember if she gave us a name or what. And Rachel's like, yeah, I've been in the living room all day. And it was a 1-bedroom apartment. We had just got together. You know, there was a living room, a bedroom, a bathroom, and that's basically it, and a kitchen. And, you know, from the kitchen and living room, which are connected, you can see into the bedroom, and Rachel would see Katie sitting there talking to herself. And so when Rachel asked her, like, who are you talking to? And she's like, I'm talking to my friend. And Rachel's like, who's your friend? And Katie's like, like I said, I can't remember if she gave a name or she went straight into the description, but she's like, this is my friend. And she has a boo-boo here and a boo-boo here, you know? And so at that time, you know, I still was, that's back when I was kind of really into that stuff, you know, but I was still fairly skeptical on some stuff, you know. Man, I was like, you know, I'm not married yet. I could get rid of them both right now. I could just move out, go away, you know. And that was my first thought. And I think that's a rational thought, get rid of the kid. But when you realize that you can't do that, then you've got to like sit down and really question the kid. And I'm like, okay, so what really happened? You know? And I mean, man, she was dead set on that. Now, we got married not long after that. And right before we got married, we moved out and moved into another place. And never an issue again, never talked about it again, no problem ever again. And I guess really I just didn't address it a lot because I was like, You know, I don't know if I want to know what this demon child has brought into my house and what she's seen, you know, because her mother's evil. I figure she is too. And I'm like, you know, I don't know. I don't know what, you know, the son, there's 12 years difference. There's 12 years difference in the kid. So, you know, she's 25 now and still probably evil. But the son has never done anything weird yet. So I've got high hopes that he's normal. But that was like, doesn't matter how much you believe or don't believe. When a kid that doesn't know how or wouldn't even think to make something, because they're so young, they're not going to make something like that up. Like in their mind, there has to be some truth to that. That makes it really weird.
Yeah. It, you know, and, you know, like the few other things that I've experienced, you know, it's like I've saw, some people call them shadow people. I don't really, I mean, but one was white. So, I mean, you know, shadow's black. One was black. But you know, one was white as well. Did you guys ever, I know you just mentioned that you got into ghost hunting and stuff. Did you do a lot of places, Justin, and investigate and stuff like that?
No, but it was for my age and the lack of, and really, I didn't hear about a lot of that back then. You know, in my teens, like pre-teens into my teens, I was obsessed with it. I mean, absolutely obsessed with it. And I had an aunt. Let me try to give you a location without like, cause I don't want, like, I don't care if people know where I live. I'm pretty open with where I live, but I don't want to name this house. Your friend that passed away, his mother owned an eatery in the local area here.
Yeah. Yeah. I know right what you're talking
about 3 houses before that coming from, my end, coming from the, from Shot side, about 3 houses. My aunt rented a house right there on the left next to the really big house. White house, she rented there. And that was at the time when I was still big into it, you know, and her and her daughter, that's all they talked about. Like her youngest daughter, they had experiences there. And it was, I mean, and I still don't consider my aunt a liar in any way, shape, or form. She's a sweet woman, like, you know, and her kid, like her daughter, the youngest daughter, we always got along well, and I was endlessly fascinated by it. And they were petrified by it. They really were. And I cut the grass there. My dad would take me around, let me cut grass in different spots for, you know, to make money. And then he and I and my brother would cut the grass there. And, you know, we got to stay there one night. And I was full alert. I stayed up all night. I mean, the entire night. You got to go to bed. I'm like, I am. And I would lay there just waiting for something. And maybe to the point that the ghost was like, this, you know, it's like trying too hard. You know what I mean? The ghost was like, oh, this guy's going to be clingy. I'm not going to do this. But I was, I was deeply invested in it. So getting to go there led me to, like, if it was somebody I knew, I ended up doing about 3 places. And again, no equipment, no, because I didn't know anything. Like, just trying to go to places where people had experiences, trying to recreate it for myself. Because when I say I was obsessed, I remember my grandfather bought a Packard Bell 750 Legend computer on a pallet one time. Didn't have a clue what it was. It's old, you know, it was the old printer paper that rolled up. Yeah. You know, like I would print my own magazine as a kid, just basically for me and to hand out to the family about ghosts and UFOs. I was obsessed by this point, but unfortunately, all that interest and stuff hit before the time of before I knew about ghost hunting and things like that. Well before the mid 90s, you know.
We and I may have told this. I know one story I told before. You know, ghost hunting, and I'll tell this one really quick because this is a recap. If anyone watched Ghost Hunters, and if they saw an episode that was filmed in St. Augustine, where the lighthouse was at, the Ghost Hunters investigated the St. Augustine lighthouse, which is documented to be haunted and by several different entities. So we done a night tour.
Florida?
Yes,
St. Augustine, Florida.
Yeah, okay. St. Augustine, Florida. So, you know, this was my ex-wife, you know, and her family and stuff. And this was several years ago, back in the late 2000s. And so, you know, we go to this night tour, and, you know, I joke and cut up, and they take us in this one room, and there's a kitchen table. And they're like, sometimes people, our maintenance guys and our janitorial staff will clean this room and push all the chairs under the table, and they'll come back, and the chair at the bottom will be sitting on top of the table. So they give you all this tour of the whole lightkeeper's house, and they give you these EMF meters, and they just turn you loose. Well, I was just wandering around, you know. I go back in this one room where the table's at, and nobody's in there with me. So I pick the chair up and I set it on top of the table, and I go to the next room where there's this crowd of people at, and this little kid and his dad are there. And, you know, they got their little instant camera, you know, with the little bitty memory cards, and they're taking pictures. And the little kid walks in the room I just come out of, and he goes, "Oh my God, Dad, come in here and look at this. You won't believe it. The chair's on the table." So there's about 8 people start rushing in this room that I just left, because there was like one way in, you could go around in a big circle. So I went in when nobody was there and got mixed in with them in the circle, you know, and went back in. And everybody was just taking pictures of the chair. I mean, nothing in there, you know, because I was the one set it up there. And they were taking pictures of the chair and this and that. And my ex-wife comes in from the other side, and I'm just standing back, you know, looking, you know, just watching everybody. So she was really into ghost hunting. So she starts taking pictures with her camera, and she's smiling, and she looks over at me, and she's like, you know, she's like, "You done this, didn't you?" I'm like, she's like, yeah, you done this. I'm like, so, you know, she got really mad and upset about that. And several years later, I had a bunch of buddies in Lexington that were into, you know, filmmaking and comedy and ghost hunting. And about 6 people met up, and this guy took us to this location a little bit outside of Lexington. And it was an old school, an old elementary school that was vacant, had been vacant for years. It was popular on the internet as, you know, on abandoned places in Kentucky, but I think it's since been torn down. And he's like, "Hey, what was that?
Frozen Creek?"
No, this is like,
I was going to say they tore that down. I wanted to go to that.
This one was in between Lexington and Frankfort.
Oh.
But so as we're on the way, we're all in the same car. He's like, "No, when we get in here, guys," you know, because I'd watched ghost hunting TV shows. This was the first time I'd ever done it. And he's like, "When we get in here," and I didn't know, like, I knew him really good, and I knew the other guy that told him about the location and was in the front passenger seat with him. And he was like, "No, when we get in here, guys, you know, just everybody be real quiet. Keep your flashlights off. You know, we'll all stay together." And so here we, you know, I mean, it's in the summertime. We get there at almost dark. I should have knew something was up, because we climb in a back window, because he don't have keys, allegedly, to the door to get us in. So we're in this place, you know, and we've got, like, you know, shitty ass video cameras and the still pictures and, you know, all of this stuff, you know, doing this ghost hunting, you know, because there's like other, you know, there's like 4, 5, 6 of us, you know. Some other people took like another vehicle. So, you know, but we were all stayed together. And some of these people, I could think, man, they've never done anything like this before, you know, because they're just like, you know, you're not supposed to be doing stuff like they're doing. And at one point, they started playing tag in the dark. And this one guy fell, and he like cut his knee on a brick or a nail or a piece of glass or something. So it's gushing blood. And my buddy, whose friend had brought us to this location, who told us the rules and all this, he's like, "You guys are being too loud. You need to be quiet." And then all of a sudden you hear the biggest bang ever was. I mean, like a door slammed shut. And like you start seeing these lights. These lights are coming down the hall. I mean, because there was a corner, you could see them coming. And then all of a sudden, the security guard comes around the corner, and he's like, "What the hell are you kids doing?" I mean, and I'm not a kid, you know. He's like, "You're not supposed to be in here. Nobody's supposed to be in here." This guy that took us there did not even have permission to go ghost hunt. And they were playing tag at this location. So we, you know, the other guy, you know, he's like, "Well, I talked to so, you know," and he's like, "No, you didn't talk to him." He's like, "Y'all get out of here right now. I'm gonna call the police on you all." I mean, hell, I'm in my like mid-30s, you know, or early to mid-30s. And but that was my like second time ghost hunting, you know, and I've not done it in well, I've done it a few years ago with a spooky family. That was my third time, but every time it's been an adventure, you know. I mean, but hell, that was,
spooky family. So,
I mean, you know, hell, that was a lot of fun because, I mean, here you've got people in there playing tag and, you know, not even supposed to be there. And I was really freaked out when I heard that loud banging and this light is getting closer. I'm like, what the fuck, you know? And comes around the corner and it's a security guard. So that's the reason he told us to be really quiet. That's the reason we climbed through the window. It all made sense to me then, you know, because I was just going with the flow. I didn't stop to think about it, you know. So
breaking and entering would have looked real good on that record.
Hey, there wasn't a good time to stop y'all earlier, but when you were talking about kids and animals, you know,
yes,
like
sir.
looking around, I don't know how much of this is true, but you know, they say like when kids are developing, you know, that's why it's good for kids to like learn instruments at like young ages because they're using more of their brain at that time. And I don't know what the stat is, but like we as adults, we only access and use a very small percentage of like what your brain capacity is. And that's what I've heard people explain, like the ghosts and entities, you know, things that may live among us, we just can't see because we're not on that same plane. And I'm wondering, you know, the ways that you can access that additional power that we know of are like psychedelics, right?
Yep.
So that's why they're using a lot of psychedelics in with psychotherapy. But because they say, what is it like LSD, like your brain, like if you look at it on a, you know, like an MRI or a PET scan, I think is more accurate, but shows how active it is, you know, where it might be, you know, 25 to 30% on normally, and it might light up to like 80 some percent, you know, like under the influence of psychedelics. So I'm wondering how much of that is, because obviously people see shit, you know, when they're on psychedelics, that's not really there. So I've kind of wondered about that before. Like if that's just your brain. I mean, obviously your brain's manifesting things that come from your thoughts, but you know, if there is any truth to that, you know, third dimension that you just don't access because you don't access that side of your brain.
Well, didn't
we actually do a segment before on something similar to that with peyote or something?
We did DMT and all that.
That's some wild shit.
Yeah, I believed, and here comes back your Captain Buzzkill moment for the week. Goes, I believe the same thing you believed about the brain. And I spoke about that on a Talk Junkie episode, and it was a professor, and it's actually changed his mind about coming on the show. Just beat me to death over it. So that's not, and I looked into it. He sent me good peer-reviewed research. They tell people that all the time, and I was told the same thing. That's not true. We do use, they don't know what we use most of those parts of the brain, but we do. But no, it's not like I was told the same thing, and I don't want to get beat up by another guy on the internet but I was told the same thing. But and he did acknowledge that, just like you said, that there's this possibility that they don't know how endogenous DMT in the body works. They've claimed to for years, just like they claim to know that we use more of our brain than that, and we don't know that we do. We just know that that's what that guy told me and what he claimed. Right. But I'd been told the same thing you'd been told for years. But
that we do.
The guy said, you know, that maybe at a younger age it is harder to regulate, or your body works less to regulate that endogenous DMT, and maybe it serves a better purpose, and that certain types of what they called psychic phenomenon or perceived psychic phenomenon generally does happen with younger kids, and that could be the possibility. Same reason why you have you know, near-death experiences and stuff towards the end of life, because they feel that it's a good possibility that it's, or you know, that people saying they seen the light and stuff like that, that it's possible that is a release of endogenous DMT into the system. So I agree with you. I think that very well, it's very well possible that you could have that, happening with younger people, and that it's more than likely due to, if nothing else, maybe a chemical compound in the brain that we either lose the ability to use over time and stuff like that. But I've been I'm very interested in DMT in general. I've been very open. If I had it, ayahuasca obviously would be hard to get and hard to do, but they can do the IV drip with DMT now to make the experience a little longer, about 15 minutes as opposed to 4 or 5. If I could do it in a controlled environment, I would happily do it. Have done mushrooms in the past, and I've done edible marijuana years ago, probably over 20 years at this point, before it was to the point it is now. If that were legal and it didn't impact my job, I would gladly do either one of those again. But I'd want it to be in a controlled place with somebody there to not influence me, just to make sure I'm safe during.
Guide you. Yeah.
Because they do these. They're doing studies with DMT constantly now, and I put in for 2 overseas, and I was not a British citizen, so I couldn't get in the one where they're trying to map it. And then they're doing some in the United States right now, and I put in for 1, and then when they sent the questionnaire back, I don't have PTSD, and I'm not going to lie about something like that, and it's strictly for PTSD. They think that it's going to, especially with soldiers, and the government's putting money into it, which is surprising. But they think with soldiers moving forward that might help with PTSD, because we're seeing really good things out of the study. Initial things, I know it's early, but it is looking positive.
Yeah. Let me interject really quick, Rich, if you don't mind. Let's comment here, like the third eye stuff / calcification. Calcification. Okay, I was trying to think of how to pronounce it there without stuttering through it. But you mentioned something, Rich, and it goes along with this: the third plane. Now, have you yourself or anyone in chat thought about if? And I'm sure, hopefully, I'm not the only one that this has happened to. You'll remember something that you did with a friend or family member vividly. And it could be like, hey, do you remember when we went to Vegas and there was a van that was going to pick us up from the airport, and it didn't have a driver in it. It was a driverless car. Right. Let's use that as an example. It'll be like, well, that didn't happen. But you have a vivid memory of it. Have you yourself or anyone in the audience or Justin, have you guys had those experiences?
No.
Well, I mean, not about the car, but just like you remember.
No, obviously,
somebody else is like, no, that didn't happen.
No, not really. But I mean, I have a memory, a long-term memory that is insane. Like the shit that I'll spout out. Like if I get to talking about, to my mom about things that happened years and years and years ago, and she'll be like, "How in the world, did you remember that?"
Now, see, I do some of that as well with my mom, but there's, I do the exact same thing. What helps me, like, remember certain events, and this is like really weird, but I can, if you like tell me, like, do you remember this and so, and I'll think back to like around what year it was and what music was popular, and then that triggers like a memory.
So crazy. I was just gonna say that, like smells and music and shit like that will bring something back for sure.
But have that's wild that music does the same thing, for you there. Then, how about you, Justin? Have you and Rachel, have you ever swore that you all did something and she's like, we didn't do that, and she don't remember it?
Now, noted, her memory and my memory both are fairly bad, so we have that argument every day. Okay. But I think me and you may have talked about it on the show about the restaurant in Frogtown. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then didn't me and you talk about the drive-in movie I thought I went to? And those two things are as real to me as if they happened yesterday. And I just, nobody, and still, I even asked around, you and I are the only two people that remember that restaurant at this point that I've met. And
I can hook you up with the former owners, So.
What I'm saying is like that, you're the first, that's the first one of those stories I've been able to validate, is that one. The
Pizza
other
Shack
two,
was the name of it, wasn't it? Pizza Shack.
I see. I was young. I don't know. But the other two, I struggle to get anything like remotely even tied to it. Like I just can't. But now I got the music thing to me. I think because I view my memory as not good from the ADD. Like I use that as an excuse sometimes and view the memory as not being good. I do use music a lot of times as that's the basis. Like one song can remind me of a time of year and a place and a certain period of time, like what me and my friends were doing or what me and my family were doing and stuff. So, to me, it is one of the most important parts of the memory process to me. Whereas movies, as much as I love movies, I just remember the movie. Like I very seldomly do remember where I seen the movie the first time. So it for some reason the movies give me a different experience than the songs. But the songs, I can remember. Okay, this is summer of '98. I got into this album. Summer of '98 was a big Deftones Around the Fur album time, and then in 90, I think it's 92 or 93, I got my first CD player. I can't tell you exactly, but I can tell you that in 93, I definitely had one by that point because Jimi Hendrix, Are You Experienced, that greatest hits collection, that was what I was into. And I remember that.
Well, what if the whole thing that, we remember that some other people don't is because, and it's just going to sound far-fetched and out there, and I think I may have even mentioned it when we talked before about this briefly, is if our two selves on different planes are like similar to like, if you bump into your self from another plane, what if that's the reason why you have memories of like this right here, for example, the fruit of the loom and the different things that people remember, and the what was the Sinbad movie? People have different memories of different stuff.
See, I get along those lines. I get deja vu all the time.
That happened a few weeks ago on the show.
Yeah.
And I remember specifically like thinking when I just said that part. Now one of my favorite movies is The Matrix, the original one, and it kind of makes you think too. But like when Keanu Reeves said, deja vu, they're like, oh shit. They knew that the shit was bad because
something in the code had been changed.
Yeah, right. So, but yeah, it kind of makes you, it's weird. Just like No Porter said, I wonder if we aren't in a simulation. Who will invoke deep thought is if you listen to Elon Musk. He's big on that whole like other plane.
Oh, brother, you if you're just now starting on the Elon Musk rabbit hole.
Oh no, I've been on it.
Okay. Now it goes back. When it goes back to start, right?
What's that?
The Elon Musk rabbit hole.
No.
With the what is it? The Baron Trump novel is where you can like trace it back. So yeah, the misadventures of Baron. That's not the misadventures. That's the adventures of Baron Trump or something like that. Whatever the book was that was printed in the late 1890s that nobody mentioned until Trump became president. That stated in the book a kid named Baron whose dad was king in another land and lived in New City. But some people claim, well, they don't claim. What do they do? It's not really a conspiracy. They have put out there that it's possible that Nikola Tesla is Nikola Tesla is Elon Musk.
Right. He was cloned.
He was cloned. So
that makes sense.
Now there is a lot of similar. We spent was 2 entire episodes several years ago talking about that. And there's a lot of similarities between the two, as far as their height and eating habits and some other of their ADHD stuff. And I mean, there's a very, very there's more similarities than they are things to dismiss. That's not, that they that are not true. So,
yeah.
But I mean, there's just, what I was going to say there, and Justin, I'll let you take over. The third plane stuff, I never really thought about it until I started doing the show a few years ago. And, if there's other dimensions, if there's other planes, maybe it's right here. And sometimes we interact with ourselves from a different plane. I mean, like if I'm sitting in a studio in this plane and I don't do anything in third plane, maybe there's times where I'm in the same location, and that's why you maybe have some of these deja vu moments, or you remember something in some way that, you're like, no, that didn't happen. So,
well, you've got different states of consciousness, and yeah, it's, you can get as deep on it as you want. And I don't know if it's necessarily a third plane, but it's, I don't know why I said third, but more so a parallel plane, that's
other dimension type thing.
Yeah, I think the third comes from like the whole third eye thing, but like,
yeah,
it's kind of wild. But that one thing I was going to say, that DMT shit and like ayahuasca, what's crazy, like, when it's done by a professional or like a shaman, things like that, the folks that I've seen that have done it for like addiction purposes, like that's what's wild to me. Like you've got somebody that's a long-term smoker, or somebody that's on hardcore narcotics or whatever it is, and like I guess them just seeing that, I guess the way I think people have described it as like seeing the way that you're supposed to live life, like through that experience or something, to where it's like a cold turkey stop. Like, and these people like have literally changed their lives for the better as a result of, an ayahuasca trip or, something like that. Robin Quivers, I'm a huge Howard Stern fan.
Same.
And not so much lately, but back in the day. And if you remember, Robin went to, was it somewhere, was it India or?
It was in East Africa, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, somewhere. She went and she did the ayahuasca thing and was talking about it, and she said that it was life-altering experience for her. So,
Justin and Rich, do you guys want to discuss this comment? And I'm going to step away really quick. I will be right back in just a minute.
That's
because Justin used to believe in the simulation theory, or he says he just did that. But he also said that all the birds that we have are drones.
The people who listened to Here to Chew Bubblegum before I came on, and the people who listen to my other podcast, they have a limit on how much simulation talk I can do, and that would exceed my limit because I think I'm not allowed any more talk for the rest of my life. I've never believed it. I just always thought it was the most interesting subject. But,
yeah, I mean, I think about it.
You're talking about that with drug addiction and stuff and things like Ibogaine, and people doing Ibogaine and ending opioid and heroin addictions with limited to no withdrawals.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, and it only being illegal in countries like the U.S. where pharmaceutical companies make a lot of money.
Exactly.
It is a little weird, but I think that and in regards, I know I've beat that simulation horse to death, and again, not really believing it. Just it's always been a very interesting thing to me. And then you hear like Neil deGrasse Tyson talking about infinite universes, and there's a universe for every possibility and stuff out there, and you look at a lot of that, and I think scientifically that was always easier for me because that's how I've always all right, if there's some science behind it, there's some math behind it, and I can find someone with some validity to say it, and then they can give me something to look at that gives me some sort of realm of possibility, then I'll believe it. But anything outside that, I won't. And there was a very big difference. And when I was younger, I'm going to say 20 and back, I believed in almost anything and everything. Very
Right.
open-minded, and I was also fairly religious.
Yeah, I still am.
And I went many, many years where I wasn't religious at all. I mean, just nothing. And
Right.
and not that I felt that I missed anything by not having that religious experience, but I also didn't have any faith in anything, like nothing at all. And for whatever reason, in the last few months, that faith in there being something more, and there has to be, and
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and I think that, you know, something like a DMT experience and something like that seems to strengthen that in everybody. I've never, you always heard the old saying, there's no atheists in a foxhole. I don't know if there's any atheists after a DMT trip or after you know what I mean? You don't seem, they experience something, and whatever the case may be. And all of it seems to be fairly similar, to some degree. And I wonder if it's not just a tool that, whether it be addiction or that lack of faith or that lost aspect or your ADD or autism, whatever the case may be, whatever issue is impacting you to whatever degree, if maybe that's not some sort of a way to access, some type of relief from that or some type of understanding of that. And yeah, I think without me being able to have that, what caused me to feel the way I feel, really just reading different things that that kind of turned my mind back to the point, and actually not weirdly enough, not reading a lot of Christian texts, reading a lot of Buddhist texts and things of that nature, and reading a lot like Mahatma Gandhi's a lot of his stuff and stuff that the Lama has said, and that, the biggest thing probably from, I read the Tibetan Book of the Dead, and that kind of started that. And then the Bhagavad Gita really got it going. But in reading it, reading what the Lama had to say about the Sermon on the Mount, and reading what these different people had to say, about these different things. And it really changed the way I looked at that. And at that moment, the thought that went in my head when I felt that turn on and kind of feel that change is, I think I put too much emphasis on what I believed and what I didn't believe instead of believing in being a better person. And then also, I really felt like for that minute or in that moment, that if I'd had something like that, if I'd had that experience before, and that's what's really got me pumped on the whole, the whole psychedelics thing for the last couple months, is I think it would strengthen that and maybe answer some questions that I can't answer myself.
Yeah. That's everything that I've heard, that there are a lot of answers to unanswered questions in there. So
yeah, but then Justin comes back and he's like, it was a skit. I just told you I believed in it. I didn't. But I mean, when he did bring it up, it was something I never thought about before. And when I was trying to debate against it, he's like, well, how do you know? How do you know what it would feel like if you were in a simulation? I'm like, I still hold that. How would you know? So what's that, brother?
I still hold that belief to some degree. I can't say we're not. That's been a lot of my problem for as long as you've known me, is me just going, no, I can't prove that, so it's not true. No, there's no evidence. So, and I've had that issue a lot. But like you take, like he said, and I mentioned it before, and that's what got me excited. You see me when he was talking about Dejva Vu, and Mandela effect. What if Dejva Vu is them changing code? What if Mandela effect is, okay, we crashed out the system and we had to reboot, and we rebooted from this point. And okay, they forgot to put the monocle on the guy from a novel. You know what I mean? Like, and there's that residual information, because you defrag a computer, you're not getting everything out. You're getting the majority of it out. There's always those trace elements, and maybe there's some point to that. And the biggest question, the biggest problem I think a lot of people have is, well, if it's a simulation, who would choose to be the lower level of society. You know, people like myself, I'm not middle class. Who would choose to be below middle class? You know, who would choose to suffer and live through hard times and things like that? I don't think you have that choice. If we are in something like that, we would purely be more than likely something to gather data. So we're just running possibilities. We're just, here you go, put this person in this situation, give them this, this, and this. It's just an algorithm machine running to get data, just data mining for possible outcomes. And I would see it being more that if we are in the simulation against our will, I would see it be more that for a society to use it as a data mine, as opposed to it being used as something to control the masses or something to entertain us. You know what I mean? Like I don't, obviously, Elon's probably having a pretty good time, you know, and I'm having a great time. I enjoy every moment of this, but you know, there's some people's had some pretty rough roads, and I'm sure they'd like to have a different path. You know, so I don't believe that it's something necessarily for everyone's entertainment, obviously. But, you know, and maybe touching back on Buddhism and Zen and the religions that do believe in reincarnation, maybe that's where they got that ideal from, that we just repeat and repeat. And maybe that's, you know, maybe we're just data and we're just repeating the simulation. Maybe we're data in a way that we can't understand. Maybe the things we consider organic are completely artificial, and the things we consider artificial are much closer to what we would define as organic. And we're just repeating the same trip over and over again until we figure out the algorithm.
And you know, we have people commenting too on Donald Trump's uncle. What was his name? Franklin Trump, wasn't that his name? He did. You don't remember? Yeah, I mean, and hell, Rich, I'd love to have you back on, and we'd love to talk about the Nikola Tesla, Elon Musk thing again. But you know, they're right, because Donald Trump's uncle did. He was sent to collect
the papers, or whatever.
Yeah, papers and trunks. There was 5 missing that were never accounted for, and strangely enough, the uncle of Trump, who did the papers, invented or patented the X-ray, when the first X-ray was made and taken in the late 1890s by Nikola Tesla. So, I mean, there's a lot of, and it will just like, you'll be like, whoa, you know, I never knew that. And you'll start looking it up, and it will lead somewhere else. And it's just, there is too much there for it not to be something. You know,
it's very weird. You know, as somebody again that's always been not a proponent of synchronicity, that's a little more than you can, like, it is. It's very interesting. Well, regardless of where you end up on it, it is very, very interesting. And I'm still very confused about the books and when they were written. Like it is, yeah. It's just
even the guy that wrote the books. I mean, like, what happened after? You know, what little you can find that happened after. Like, there's, you know, I mean, I threw out what some people believed is that the guy that wrote the books was a time traveler, because I mean, all you can find about the author of The Last President, it was like just one paragraph. I mean, there was not much at all, and he had some, and I can't remember what it was. He had some strange, like, note that he left behind. You know, when he had died or disappeared, or he died. He died
late 1800s, wasn't it?
Yeah, but he had some. He left like some cryptic message behind, like, "My friends, don't be sad. I'm moving on," and talking about going to this other, like, plane, really, or dimension, or this, you know. But the first
PS on that, because that's, he said, don't mourn whatever, because I'm going on, you know. And then it's like, PS, clear my browser history, and nobody knew what that was.
But he's actually first mentioned, like, as a young man, as an attorney during the Civil War, right? He is like a protege of Abe Lincoln's or something like that. I know Abe Lincoln's in there because that's the first time he's mentioned.
Yeah.
So
who was mentioned as the protege?
The author of The Last President.
Okay.
So He was a lot younger than Lincoln, and but he was like, I guess Lincoln, he knew Lincoln, and Lincoln, before he's president, he watched him practice law and all that and so forth. But
seem to be connected on a social level like this. That's the weird part. Like he seemed to be a fairly prominent person, and then he writes this book, and then there's just not any information on him. Like you can't find a ton of information. Or it may exist, but if it exists, the internet's ignored it for some reason. They don't ignore anything, So that's weird to me that you can't find it.
Exactly. That was a big red flag for me as well. I definitely want to have you back on, Rich.
Yeah.
Hell, I could talk another 2 hours, but I know you've probably not been to bed yet. So.
Oh no, I was yesterday. Of course, we did that live that you came on.
Yeah. Oh, I finished the rest of that at the gym this morning. That was awesome.
We we played games after, and I didn't sleep yesterday. So I was up all the way through yesterday, and then we got done last night at I don't know what time was it. It was like 12:30. I was in bed by 2:00.
Right. Oh hell, there you go. That's early. You sound like me the night before. I slept 2 hours, or no, I was on with you and Rusty and Uncle Will till like 4. And I was up at like 5:45, and I just woke up and I stayed up all day yesterday.
I get 3 or 4 hours of sleep, so I'm good.
Same as me. Same as me.
But now, if I sleep like if I sleep like 8 hours, I'm worthless. I'll be tired all damn day if I sleep that long. So
you don't sleep much either, do you, Justin? You never have.
No, I used to be awful for it, and I don't know what I cut out caffeine with the exception of coffee in the morning, and then changed some stuff and got really good at sleeping for the first time in my adult life. And then we went back to the driving 2.5, 3 hours to work each way every morning because they put me on different projects. So now I'm back to like 3-4 hours sleep a night, and it sucks.
But I quit drinking caffeine. I don't drink coffee. I've never had a cup of coffee in my life. That's my claim to fame. People never believe me, but it's the truth. And
it tastes bad. I don't blame you, but I drink
the only caffeine intake I was getting was from Diet Coke, but I used to drink a lot of it.
Yeah.
And once I got off of that, I didn't realize like I hadn't had caffeine in the longest time. Except on a rare occasion, I'll grab a sugar-free Red Bull.
Which and I think that's like I was the same way. I would drink. That's no exaggeration. When I used to be a welder and I was out on pipeline all day, 12, 13 hours a day in the dead heat of the summer, it was nothing. Drinking 12 pack of Pepsi cans a day. Like it really wasn't. So it's probably why I have so many. It's probably why I have so many kidney stones to this day. But I started the coffee as a meal substitute in the morning. I got a Keurig. I do one of their smallest coffees mixed with one of the smallest cappuccinos with like a splash of cream, and that's it. And I do that every morning, but that's the only thing I'll have between 4 a.m. and noon. And then at that point, I'll start eating, and then not on a diet. I'll eat everything in front of me. But if I could add that diet part in after, that'd be doing phenomenal.
Yeah, I did. I took this week off, but I did 3 weeks of intermittent fasting, and it actually wasn't that difficult.
That's rough too, though, man.
Dude, it wasn't hard for me because
when you first get started, it's rough.
So. It wasn't because, like I said, the hard thing is if I was up super late.
Yeah,
that's weird, isn't it? Difficult. But
if you're up super late and you don't eat, then you're hungry much earlier in the morning than you normally would be.
But see, like if I on a normal sleep schedule, I'm going to go to bed at anywhere from midnight to 2, maybe 3. I'll be up at 7:30, 8 o'clock. And I don't get hungry. Like I won't want to eat something until 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't that difficult, but it was only eating. The fast was only eating from noon to 6 p.m.
Yeah.
And the only time it got hard was, like I said, if you're up at 2 a.m. and, but I was just drinking a shit ton of like carbonated water, You should try to like get full or whatever.
That's if I moved that coffee to like 11:30, that would put me well inside of my fast. You know what I mean? But I never thought about that. I've done what Boland's talking about, and it ain't intermittent. It's more on a like a pattern, like it's like a beat. It's not intermittent.
Oh Lord,
yeah,
that does not sound good.
And Boland cracked me up, but I'm gonna wrap it up. But before I do, Rich and everyone in the chat, if you've not heard of this, Rich, and you're kind of, you're into some of this stuff, going down rabbit holes and stuff, there's an app called Randonautica. Have you ever heard about this?
Have not.
Okay. Do a little research on the app Randonautica, because there has been people that have downloaded this app, and whatever you visualize and think and want to manifest, it will allegedly lead you to a location where whatever you manifested exists. If you wanted to see a ghost or UFO, if you wanted to find a pile of money. Now, there's been a few cases where kids have played it and they wanted to see a dead body. Well, it's actually led them to dead bodies.
Oh, Lord.
But, hits had more misses than hits. But it's still kind of interesting to do a little dive on it. Don't you think, Justin?
The first time I ever heard of it was from your show. Really in the early days, and I think we need to make some trips. I know
we need to revisit it. Well, I
think we need to go do one. We need to go actually out in the field. Curvy Golf Girls. That's probably where all.
What was that? Golf Girls.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, she's gonna leave me. She's gonna leave me.
Well, I'm up for doing it, because when I took a solo trip back up to Centralia, Pennsylvania, back in
dude, Hellmouth. I was talking about Centralia, trying to explain it to people, man. Crazy.
Oh, I'm going to send you some pictures, man, and some video that I took.
We did a fireworks competition up there.
Oh, did you really?
And it was at Centralia, because they're like, hey, what's the worst that can happen? You can't burn the place down. It's always on fire.
That's a good point.
And I was explaining to people in the chat, I was like, the only thing there is like the volunteer fire department. And they got that bar in there.
Yep.
And everybody just gets shit-faced down there at that bar. And the coolest people, man, that was an awesome trip, man, to Centralia. It's it's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, I loved it. If anyone if you can like Google really quick, Randonautica for iPhone or
that's what I'm doing. I'm on
Android. You care to post that in the link? Some of the mods are there. But I loved Centralia, because I had, I first heard about it years ago when the video game Silent Hill came out. And I started researching it back in the late 90s, early 2000s. And finally, this past April, I went. And the only thing that disappointed was, to be in an abandoned town, there was so much traffic going through that town. But it was everything that, you would expect it to be. Like he said, their fire department's still there, like this city hall type thing that's in the same building. There's just a few houses by it. And then up above it is this huge old church that is still upkept. But there's signs posted. I'll have to send you some pictures. Well, I'll have to post some. Maybe I'll do a video when we do the next show and post some pictures from Centralia and stuff with it. Put those up. But I was going to do Randonautica there, is what I was going to say, but I didn't get a chance, because by the time I got there, and I spent like 4 hours just like roaming around and finding the old graffiti highway. That was awesome. So, but I'm all for it, and like I said, you guys will really like, if you like conspiracies and theories and strange events and weirds and X-Files type stuff, Randonautica, the app, it has that. I will definitely tell her that, Christy. Thank you very much. Let's see. We're going to wrap stuff up. Justin, is there anything you want to say in closing? Because, then take your time. Don't be in a rush here. I'm going to go through and click on some of these comments.
Does that mean I need to kill time? Is that what you're asking me to do?
No. You're good. I'm just saying, is there anything that you want to touch on before we,
I'm gonna touch you. I didn't get sent. I didn't get invited to go to Centralia. So I mean, it was.
Well, when I go back, I will take you, buddy. We will broadcast live. No, we won't broadcast live because I barely had cell phone service up there. So I don't think I did have cell phone service there because I posted pictures.
Sure didn't call me, so I don't know. I don't know. You didn't call me before you left or while you were there. None of that. So I don't know,
dude.
I don't know. I invited Bola.
I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry. I will call Mother Goose and I'll get her to make you a special brownie.
I like to have a brownie. That'd be good. I like, especially a special brownie. Now I ain't lose my job. That'd be great. And then I can randonautica all over the place because I won't be there.
Spell randonautica there, Justin, to make sure I'm getting it right here before I.
With an R.
Well, R-A-N-D-O.
I've got it pulled up. I downloaded
Yeah, let him. I have no clue.
It's just like random without the M.
Yeah.
Nautica, like the clothing brand. That's
Even
RANDONAUTICA. And it's right there on the App Store. I'm making an account right now.
Okay. But I mean, it is really back. I didn't get to try it this past April, but back years ago when I downloaded it, sometimes you would be thinking of stuff and you would use the app and you would have to wait and redo it because there was so many people on the server. It would not, manifest stuff, but there's even YouTube videos on it. I mean, it's really interesting, freaky. And, I learned later on, I don't think we ever mentioned this on the show. Some of the, people that created the app are tied or had ties to a group of scientific people and so forth. And the way that it was, made and put out there and so forth. To clarify for you, others, it is not ex-police officers. It is a former, as in retired. Thank you, Vicky. She is correct. Let's see, and Little Mama Payday. Thank everyone, you guys, for stopping by. Let me go back up here. Any comments I've not hit, I will hit as we play the outro stuff here. We would love to have you back on, man. And everyone, be sure to, if you're not subscribed to Rich, if you're listening to the audio version, please check Rich out on YouTube. .com/@Rich Nubuck, Nubuck 1875. What were you going to say, Justin?
Be careful how you search for people. Like, look for Rich Nubuck like that. Don't look for Big and Rich. I done that, or you won't find them. And then you're on with Rusty Trucker, right?
Yes,
correct. Yeah.
When you're searching Rusty Trucker, when you get to the
Rusty Truck,
go past the U. Don't just put Rusty TR and go, oh, there, because that gets you Rusty Trombone. And those are two completely different things. I mean, it's hard to explain at work.
Well, it is. But our social media shout out this week is to Uncle Will. Be sure to check out his account on YouTube. Let's see. Well, sorry, it says Miss Vicky Newman. I forgot to update it. But just don't pay any attention to that one part there. Pay attention to the end. Miss Vicky had it last week and she might get it again because she's a very sweet lady, very deserving of it. But this week it's Uncle Will, youtube.com/@Uncle Will. I will correct that before the show ends, but be sure to check out our show producer Lucy's Etsy shop. And I have a thing for that, a ticker, and there it is. You can get
cool Hell Comes to Frogtown
LNR crafts and things. Etsy.com/shop/LNR crafts and things. Be sure to check her out. And don't forget to check out Luke Fugit with Scientific Fugacity. And you can catch it on Spotify and all other platforms. I think iTunes as well. And Rich, again, thank you, sir.
It was a pleasure.
You're welcome back anytime. I have loved this. I hope you don't think I'm ending it or anything, but like I said, I could go all day. And thank you again for coming on. Also, be sure to check out Talk Junkie on Spotify with our very own Mr. Justin Perkins. He will, for those of you that know who Uncle Will is, Justin could be Uncle Will's brother, seriously, because he gives, you have somebody telling you about stuff that just makes sense and it just clicks and you're like, wow, I never thought of that way.
Let's not put Uncle Will down. No. But between now and January, there will actually be episodes with guests, just a couple.
Oh, okay. You've not asked me to be a guest yet.
Yeah, you've been on Talk Junkie a bunch.
Well, you've not asked me here since January to be a guest.
Well, you want to be on before January?
I'll pencil you in.
Yeah, exactly, people. No, he don't want to be. He don't want anything to do to be.
Who was up before daylight once doing a show?
Bowling and me, and then you were dumb enough to join in. We were on bowling schedule that day, though. He don't sleep.
But again, thank you, Rich. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Again, just stay tuned to our community tab on here to Chew Bubblegum or the Static and Noise YouTube page or on TikTok, and we'll let you know about next week's page. Remember, let's see, let me get this music started here. Hit this button. There we go. Remember, everyone has a voice, and together we truly can change the world.
Don't suck and be good to people.
We'll see you next time, everyone.
She said, they said it too, so it must be true. And the salt and the wounds, it seems that everyone knew but you. Now I ain't defending my actions or degrading your right to choose, but before you do, every story has two sides. And if I told you every answer ain't always found in plain sight, in between the lines, the black and the white's all shades of gray. Good and bad is all in where your eyes are pointing. Would it change your mind? Change your mind. Well, she's probably brought out every low down account about me for the case against all these years worth of heart-shaped memories. Well, I bet she didn't tell you I pleaded for just one more bigger man's chance. That's no coincidence. No, no, no. But do you realize every story has two sides? And if I told you every answer ain't always found in plain sight, in between the lines, the black and the white's all shades of gray. Good and bad is all in where your eyes are pointing. Would it change your mind? Would it change your mind? Would it change your mind? history books are always written by the winners. The tales are told, the facts overlooked, and the light of truth